Joining us now, Dan Eberhard, CEO of Canary Oil, one of the largest private oil companies in the country. Mr. Eberhard, thank you very much. What's the latest you can tell us about the state of both production on the one hand, which you're involved in, and refining on the other? The two are separate. The first, a lot of it is offshore and was shut down. The refining is mostly onshore.
Yeah, they're really two separate issues. So offshore, about 288 platforms were evacuated. That's about half of what exists in the Gulf. And the production was shut in. About 96% of the oil production and 94% of the natural gas production was shut in. So that's going to have significant supply strains. And to restart operations, producers have got to get personnel back offshore, assess damage, and then restart. So that will take a while. Meanwhile, what's going on with the refineries? As you said, about 9% of the refining capacity in the country is offline. There's also an additional, with 6 refineries are shut down. There's 3 other refineries that are about 3.5% of the nation's production that are operating at roughly 50% capacity. And this is going to take time to get back online, and we're going to have a supply shortage. Gasoline levels are below pre-pandemic levels right now, and gasoline prices at the pump retail are about $1 higher than they were a year ago. So we've already got a bit of a supply constraint before Hurricane Ida. So I expect there to be some tightness, particularly in the gasoline market. Oil, looks to me like oil will recover a bit sooner, but gasoline prices are going to be sticky and higher as this kind of moves through the system the next couple of weeks.
How long does that sticky and higher last in gasoline and with oil? That's number one. And number two, if oil comes back faster than the refineries can accept the oil, what happens to that oil? Does it get exported?
Well, it might get exported, but I think it will just be kind of in the pipelines and in storage, and we'll see the storage number build. But, I think that this is it's a bit early. We're still waiting from reports from our customers and competitors and people we talk to kind of assess damage. But I think that the offshore infrastructure looks like it's going to be mostly okay, would be an early assessment. And so I think that you'll see oil prices kind of climb down a bit from, what happened Friday. And today it's really more of a leveling off. The refining capacity is going to take a bit longer to get online. I think you're going to see gasoline prices at the pump stick higher for 2 or 3 weeks as a result of this. And then look, in the New Orleans metro area, it's going to be a bigger situation. There's going to be supply constraints. And a lot of this stuff with the refineries depends on assessing damage, but it also depends on the power grid and when we can get that energy, the local power provider can get that power back online.
Dan, just one more question about gas prices. We spoke with an analyst last hour, I believe from Platts, who said there were sort of important differences between this storm and Katrina. That Katrina happened into a very strong demand market. This one's a little bit softer. Obviously, 2005 was a much stronger economy than this year. That also Katrina was followed by Rita 3 weeks later. So that was really a double whammy in terms of the effect on supply. So, he just doesn't kind of see the same issue back then when prices spiked by $1 in the immediate aftermath. And I know that's not what you're saying here, but is it possible that this isn't much more than a ripple? I mean, in price at the pump terms, how much do you think people outside of that area are likely to see in terms of a direct increase?
I do think there's more slack in the system. The pipeline infrastructure is a little bit better and the economy is a little bit weaker. So I do think there's more slack in the system now. Also, Rita was kind of a direct hit on the Lake Charles area in that refinery. So that was really like a second punch that really provided a bit of a knockout blow. But, we've gotten, I think, more sophisticated and more prepared for these storms with backup generators and the ability to move capacity around. That was what the storm was 16 years ago, Katrina. So I think overall the nation's energy infrastructure grid's in a better place. There's also more production coming from the Bakken and other places, which is going to smooth out. We're less dependent on production in the Gulf than we were, and there's been a lot of redundancies in invested in the refining complex infrastructure. So I think we'll be a little bit better off. But again, this is going to be a heavy blow for people in the New Orleans metro area, and I really do think we're going to see ripple effects throughout the entire kind of Mid-South.